week's episode of The Voice Party is brought to you by Big Boy Wraps. Get your car wrapped by some of the most experienced and skilled in the Bay. Big Boy Wraps, where the big boys play.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners all around the world, it's time to strap in for the most wonderful listening experience, The Voice Party. I got JD, I got Marcos, we got Phil, I got yours truly, and our wonderful guests over here. Guests, please introduce yourself to the populace.
Because he don't remember my name, y'all. I'm Jacie Rowe, host of the Jazzy Comedy Show and best friend of JD. I'm taking your spot, Joaquin.
Welcome to the show, Jacie.
I'm honored to be here, for real. Thank you all.
Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you for coming, bro.
Blessings to each.
I've seen you quite a bit in the last couple of months.
You know what?
Yeah.
I know the universe has really conspired to put us together. It's
Exactly,
been great.
man.
I think it's like COVID has created this new Tetris. You know how in Tetris, when things line up, that line disappears
Yeah.
and new things have to line up?
Yeah.
I think so many people, sadly, maybe disappeared. Is it too early to make a death joke about COVID?
No.
Okay. But since all those people died, new relationships have to be created, and I think that's what's been happening over the last couple of months in a more positive way, you know, like death breeds life type shit.
Yeah.
Post snap, yeah.
Definitely.
Post snap, there you go. Thanos.
Hey, what's up, man? You trying to take my best friend now?
He's from El Cerrito. I don't know.
He'll get the bill every time.
That's true. Joaquin's like your white black friend. He can pay your bills for you. And he has good credit.
He's gonna talk to the cops. Me and Phil will get taken out of the car.
Phil's getting arrested.
Yeah, I don't.
Phil's wearing a do-rag right now, bro. He's a white guy on the show.
Yeah, man. We've got that Richmond blood. We need the El Cerrito.
We do need
all from Richmond right here. You know, one not from Richmond. We need you to
As much time as I spent in the city, oh my God.
I know, right?
Yeah, Marco's got street cred wearing a pink sweatshirt right now. More than you being in the beanie from El Cerrito. I'm just saying.
He's got the street cred.
He's like, it's a Scully. Yeah, whatever. El Cerrito.
Shit, I don't even live in Richmond no more, so I live in Pinole now.
Oh, you've moved up too.
Yeah.
Mr. Jefferson. How you doing? Mr. Jefferson Espanol.
But the whole hood's moving right next to me now.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say it's not like
it's not Old Town
It's not
Pinole.
Pinole nice.
It's not.
It's like Richmond nice.
It's Richmond Pinole. It's Richmond's invasion of Pinole.
Gotcha.
I'm part of that. I'm leading the charge.
Reverse gentrification.
Reverse
where
gentrification.
he lives, it looks like Ream on a bad day. Like Ream Street on when nobody's cut their lawns.
It
and
does.
shit.
Yeah, cars on the lawn
Nobody
and
wants
shit.
to be on Ream Street.
Nah,
no offense.
there's you park your car next to your barbecue grill.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ouch. Sorry, Pinole. You know, it happens.
I apologize, but hey.
It's still all nice in Oakland, so hey.
That's where you live right now?
Yeah, Oakland's like the garbage dump of the East Bay. Like
The Brooklyn of the East Bay.
it literally, bro. We seen 6 mattresses just coming out of Oakland today along the freeway. You know, we were like dodging them and shit. Like this shit's crazy, bro.
Hey, somewhere to put your head down.
I'm tired of driving on the highway. Let me park and lay down.
Lay down on the side of the road. There's free blankets. There's stuffed animals.
Somebody was thinking about us.
You know what?
Who needs a hotel?
It's free. It's sleep on the highway.
It's free in Oakland to just sleep under the bridges.
On the bridges, under the bridges.
They said the roads
You know
we
what,
paved
though?
in gold.
I've been-
No, mattresses.
I've been doing a lot of Instacart, and dude, in El Cerrito and in Oakland, I've gone live. I've delivered in the hood. I've delivered in whatever.
El Cerrito's got some hood too.
Got some. But I've gone up the hills too, to both, and it's just like the houses that are up there are phenomenal. They're beautiful. I'm like, how does it go from this? And it's literally, if you look at my water bottle, I'm up here. This is where all the nice houses are. You just go down this much, and then you're back down in the shit.
Yep.
And you're just like, that changed so fast.
Look at Point Richmond and how far it is from
Richmond,
from
or just from
the hood Richmond. where
You have to go
literally
through the hood to
that
get-
gas station is like the beginning of where it starts to get
Right.
like, you know, where it was where Keek the Sneak got shot. I don't know if you're familiar with Keek the Sneak. That's where one of those gas stations, and then Port Richmond over here, where it's like millionaires living, and it's like walking
where all the
distance.
ace players live.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally across the tracks.
But that's everywhere. Like if you go to Palo Alto, East Palo Alto, and you know, and
Regular Palo Alto.
regular
Regular.
regular Palo
Regular
Alto.
means white for those listening.
Yeah.
White with money.
Yeah, it's like that
middle class and above.
You go to East Palo Alto and there's like candles for like today's victim, you know, like
Yeah.
yeah,
Isn't that sad that that's like
it's
true?
like and that's
Today's
everywhere in
victim.
the world.
Today's
though.
victim, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so in Oakland, I'm off golf links, right, which is like what they call
Oh,
the
shit.
foothills, right?
Yeah.
So I'm off 82nd.
That's like
and
the
golf
border
links.
of,
It's
like,
the border of like all the
rich
shit and
and
then all the
hood.
pretty nice,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
so my wife, you know, on the weekend she sells plants in the front yard. She can make a couple dollars just because the people from the hills come down and then they buy. But then we hear murders like behind our house on MacArthur regularly. So even last
Right.
night, I'm laying down, I hear, you know, people playing music, having a good time, and they had been doing this for probably like a couple hours. It was Saturday night. It's a regular thing in Oakland. Then all of a sudden, you hear, pa, pa, pa. And then all of a sudden, it gets quiet, and the lady starts
Was that
screaming.
someone jumping on the mattress?
Oh, I wish it was so innocent, right? A lady began to scream, ah, ah. I mean, she's screaming her heart out. And then you hear one more, pa.
And just silent.
And there's no more screaming. And then you hear, and they drive up golf links and they leave. Because that's what happens in Oakland regularly. People come in town, they shoot people who live in Oakland, and then they drive right out. And we hear the people speed off. I've probably heard so many murders just in the last 3 years living on the street. Being from Detroit, Oakland is a surprise. Because in Detroit, you know about people getting murdered. Bless you, brother. And in Detroit, I would like to say it's more targeted. Like if somebody gets
Organized
shot,
crime.
yeah, if somebody gets shot, you like what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I got a cousin they got beat up real bad in the 80s when I was like 2 years old. He's my second cousin. He's like my parents' age, and he's beat so bad. It's like that memory where the dude only remember like a few seconds. My cousin got about a minute before he resets. He can ask you for a cigarette, and then in a minute he'll ask you for another cigarette. He reintroduces himself all the time, and nobody in my family feel bad for him because they know what the fuck he did to get his ass beat and put in that position.
Oh yeah.
Oakland is more like a pregnant woman just got shot, or another pregnant woman was hit by a car and then she was robbed by somebody else. It's just chaos. And I struggle with it. We were talking about politics a little bit before, but I struggle with it because of the political leadership. And I'm like, what is the point of government if they're not here to protect and serve the people?
Right.
Not talking about the police, but I'm talking about the whole institution of government. And then you drive out to a place like El Cerrito. We're 20 minutes away from Oakland, and this looks like fucking Disneyland compared to where we just came from. And I haven't heard anybody get shot yet.
Yep. And you know, that's something that I heard from like I remember this growing up in Richmond in the neighborhoods I was living in on near McDonald Avenue, where random cars would just pull up and then call you to the car, like, hey, come here. You know, usually young people, hey, come here. And then you walk up, and as soon as you walk up, they shoot at you. And it was just a random shit, and it still happens to this day. It happened to one of my old friends in North Richmond. It happened to his, like, not that long ago. His nephew, same thing. They called him to his car and just shot him. He didn't know who it was. He saw their faces. No idea why. A lot of initiations happen like that.
Yeah,
And then some
yeah.
random shit, you know, just one of my coworkers that I worked with many years ago who, you know, told me stories about himself shooting people growing up. And he said one thing about the hoods, it's easy to kill people in the hoods because the investigation is not going to be great. And a lot of the times they're going to think, oh, he was in the hood.
Right.
Yeah, they're gonna dismiss it.
Yeah.
That's what
Like,
it is. He's
I'm
probably
gang
involved in
related.
drugs or something, and even if it was, you know, so according to this guy, and you know, I don't know if it was true or not. I'm not, but when they wanted to get someone, they would plan something in the hood, and that's where it would happen.
You know, I remember going when I was in high school at Kennedy. There was somebody getting killed like almost every week because of the North versus the North Richmond versus Central Richmond beef, which goes back more than a
60s
decade.
or
You know,
something,
like the 60s,
Yeah.
and like, you know, in comparison, like in my own neighborhood, in the last decade, there's only been one murder that I can think of that happened on my street. It was like a high-powered lawyer. He was a
oh shit.
Oh, he did something.
he was he did intellectual property. You know, anything copyrighted by Oracle or whatever.
He obviously lost that case. Huh?
And he was found.
Oh, he won it.
he was shot dead on his front porch. His wife was home at the time. Nobody saw who did it. And the police are basically just like, it's a robbery gone wrong. But I'm like, nah, that sounds like a hit to me.
Yeah,
especially in that neighborhood.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And his wife was there. That sounds like a setup.
Like he had gone to a social function, like without her, I guess. So you know, when he came back home, pop.
Ouch.
And
But
that-
1 in 10 years, that's it.
That sounds more like organized crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like he
Yeah.
either
Right.
took something,
Like somebody
do something that he was
he
supposed
knew
to do.
Exactly.
knew too much about a particular thing
Yeah.
that could have gone the other way. So you know, somebody paid someone to have him waxed.
And what you said right now, like in Detroit, the difference, I've heard that from a couple of people. One of them was my principal at Richmond High. He came from, I believe it was Harlem or the Bronx. I forgot where he was from. And he was at one of the most violent schools there. And that's why when he went to the West Coast, he landed in Richmond because they needed, you know, at the time it was going through some shit. And he said the same thing, like everything out here is random. Like you got a bunch of, I think he said something about like, I got a bunch of Columbine kids
I mean,
living all
too,
close to each other,
I mean,
doing random
you know,
shit,
but
along with the gang shit.
Yeah.
like, you know.
Dang.
I mean, with the Central North thing, when they ask you like, what part of Richmond are you from?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I never got asked that, but I often wondered if I told somebody else, Rito, would they believe me or would they shoot me just because they thought I was from another area?
Just wearing the wrong hat.
You know, or just wearing the wrong
part
hat.
of
Right.
hood.
Yeah.
Like,
Like you don't wear the New York, the NY hat because that's
in Central or South, and you don't wear that hat.
Yeah, you
in-
don't wear that
in
hat.
North Richmond.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
that's how it is, and that's everywhere in California. I mean, with the
Yeah.
different, you know,
LA. and
LA,
stuff.
with
it's
the
blue
whole-
and red. And
Yeah, see, so for the California listeners who don't know about the Midwest, that shit is weird as fuck to us.
Yeah.
Right? Because, you know, I was sharing this with Brother Yusef. Like, in Detroit, we do families. So if y'all haven't watched, like, Black Mafia Family on
Yeah.
Hulu right now with Big Meech, the show is phenomenal. Y'all should check it out. But we really are about our families. Like, and you might have some people on the block that's part of another family that's kind of, because y'all grew up, y'all family too. But it's not, just this Negro lives 17 blocks over. He wear the same color, so we together. I don't know you, bruh. You got to get tested. Like, even if you want to go biblical with it, it says a man should be tested by his fruit. That's like the number one gangster code in the street. You better test that man and see what he can produce. And if he can't produce nothing, we don't want to work with him,
Just 'cause
whether
of
he
the same
family
color.
or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not doing that color shit. But it's like, you know who in the family is responsible, and those the ones who lead the production for the family. You know who in the family strong, them the ones who serve as the protectors and the predators for the family. And you know in the family who needs some fucking help. Sit back and watch these babies and y'all eat apples or something. You know what I'm saying? But everybody got a role,
Right.
and it's moved different. So like, I mean, I got crazy stories being from Detroit, but I got a great uncle, Uncle James. Shout out, rest in peace. Right, he was a pimp his whole life. Now my auntie, my great auntie, Aunt Jean, she was a doctor working at Providence Hospital, the same hospital I was born in Detroit. He was pimping to pay for her to go to school. They never officially got married. Had this big ass house in Detroit off Finkel, right? Most expensive house on the block. She had her bedroom, he had his bedroom. Everybody and their mama lived in that house. Literally, like all of the kids grew up in there at different points. And he was pimping probably until a few years before he died. And she's still a doctor right now, going into her 80s.
wow.
Damn.
Is that one of those things like where they kept it from the family that he was pimping? Like,
No, we all knew he was a pimp.
yeah.
My cousin Demarius was born to a pimp because his stepdaughter, my Aunt Jean daughter, that came from somebody else. We only had to get into all of that.
Yeah.
You know,
But
she was pimped out for a minute and produced my cousin Demarius. And I love my cousin. That's my man. We met his father together when I was 26. He was 28. And that nigga's a pimp. He down in Arizona pimping. But he a real, like, if you think of any 1970s blaxploitation movie, that's my nigga daddy. Like, that's my cousin daddy. He an actual pimp. He got actual hoes. He, be smacking women and doing all type of crazy stuff. But they live off of that. They, like, it's like the black market. It exists.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then that's tax free. Cash rules everything around me type. You know what I'm saying?
and that's you said this was your uncle in the.
So yeah, this is my great uncle with my great auntie, who, like I said, if you met her, you think, oh, this is Michelle Obama. She's educated, and if she went to a nice dinner, she might take my great uncle. She might take somebody else just for looks.
Oh, they weren't. They
wasn't officially married, but they was together.
They had kids?
They raised a good family.
They had children.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had children, grandchildren. My cousins and my big cousins. You know, and so we got a big family in Detroit. But that's the game. You know, we got cousins that move, wait, and buy homes. And that's part of the game. And in the homes, they rent them out. They're a legitimate business.
Is there
covering it?
Is there a practical reason that they never tied the knot, or
lifestyle?
Taxes?
Yeah. Taxes?
Mostly taxes.
Mostly taxes.
Yeah. As a single mama, you know, she gonna get different tax benefits for the kids and grandkids living in the house.
Tax
everything.
Then as a married
everything be
couple.
under the mama name, because the mama the educated one. But all the real money come in through the daddy tax. That's how that stuff was ran.
Which is
in
how
Detroit.
a lot of families.
Yeah, you won't. I don't think I've seen that out here in the rich like that.
I mean, it's there. You just don't hear about it.
Yeah.
Because
And
it's quiet.
And it's run by
That's a
gangs
quiet
too.
life.
Yeah. Like me talking about this on the radio, it's a lot of Detroit people, if they hear this, they're gonna be like, nigga, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you don't be telling them how we run the game.
Hey, don't worry, no one listens.
Except those two guys in Canada and that one guy in Ireland, right?
Yeah, the two guys in Canada and one guy in Ireland.
Yeah. We're close to Canada though, which is crazy too, because they got a whole different vibe. Canadians leave their door open, and
I know.
we can go in their house and they'll just be like, hey, where you from? Detroit? Come on in, have some pizza. Kind of like how y'all do.
Yeah.
No wonder
Y'all
Drake's
like
so
Canadian Richmonds. Drake.
We come in at night though. When
We come in at night and scrummage through your drawer.
Yeah. I heard
Like, we're just looking for the money. It's in there.
some of my homies did that where they get really drunk and they break into someone's house to make a sandwich.
Yeah, that's funny as hell.
That's just not. That's okay. You know what?
That's
just
creepy.
That's just not.
It's a little creepy.
I mean, you know,
So we used to go to
there are
like.
worse things to do when you break someone.
You wake them up. Where's the mail, motherfucker?
Nah, see, you go to the fraternity parties. That's what you do. That's when I was in undergrad. We would go to all the like the white
Yeah.
fraternity parties. They got all the money. Wait till everybody drunk, passed out, and then you rob them all their liquor. I mean, you can rob them of anything, but just for the record,
yeah.
it's just the liquor.
Yeah.
Hey, so how long did you live in Detroit? Like, are you new to the Bay?
No, so I've been in the Bay like 7-8 years. I mean, I like grew up in Detroit, but I grew up a little everywhere too because my dad was military. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I had a weird experience. Like I got my first job in Detroit.
Yeah.
Like I got my permit in Detroit at 14. Like you know what I'm saying? I grew up in the Shears Church, which if anybody black listening, they know about J. Drew Sheard and Karen Clark Sheard. That's like a big black church and gospel music out there. Everybody in Detroit in church. So like where people be like, oh, Jill Scott can sing or Jennifer Lopez. It's like everybody in Detroit can sing.
Yeah.
I can't, but everybody else can. Like that's just a thing.
They produce some of the best music.
Yeah.
What like
yeah, Motown.
Motown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Entire labels
worth
of music.
And I just watched a documentary a few years ago about a band that came out of Detroit. They were
Just one? Okay.
Well, no. This one in particular, they're kind of credited for starting punk. A band called Death.
And they're all African American.
Yeah.
No, but that's the secret. Black people created punk, rock. We created house music in Detroit, which people call techno.
I thought it was
now.
Chicago.
Nah, man, don't be giving Chicago credit over us. I'll
'Cause
beat
you
your
hear
ass
that-
on your show, JD.
No, because you see, they a lot of people
they be
credit
stealing
Chicago.
our shit too, man. Detroit created all that, bro.
Okay.
Man, I'm telling you, go watch that BMF show.
I'm glad you clarified that because I actually
Have you ever
heard
seen the
a couple of people mention that Chicago is where house music
They
started.
lying,
Yeah.
bro.
No, what's it called? There's this documentary on Netflix it's called What We Started, and it's this older black DJ who's like, he started out like being an actual disc jockey, like he had records and stuff like that. Then he started making beats and stuff and started really like doing the techno stuff, and he was like, yo, we've been doing this for years, and all of a sudden, like, then Europeans started hearing it, and then they took it over, and not that they didn't get good at it or nothing like that, but it started.
Yeah.
Jazz.
There would have been no Daft Punk without them.
Yeah.
Yeah. The oldest jazz club in America is in Detroit off of 8 Mile.
Oh, what?
Literally,
Really?
it's called the Old Jazz Club if you ever there.
Oh,
Like, I mean, when we talk about I like to talk shit to a lot of California
Older than the
people.
Cotton Club?
Come on, bro. Don't be testing no Detroit gang gangsters, bro. It's good. God bless them. But the oldest jazz club, the first jazz club, look it up. Google exists for a reason. All right, it's the old jazz club.
Oh shit!
Out of Detroit, Michigan.
Where's the old Cotton Club?
It's in New York.
New York.
Oh yeah, no,
Harlem.
Harlem.
But they they probably wasn't known as all jazz though too, because they did blues, they did swing, you know what I'm saying?
You're
But I'm
right.
talking about pure jazz.
Oh, did they change the name? It's called Baker's Keyboard Lounge.
They changed the name,
Yeah.
and they just did that like in the last
Detroit.
couple of years in Detroit. Yeah.
That's
the world's
crazy.
oldest operating jazz club since May
Detroit-
1934.
The world's oldest operating jazz. Marcos, you my other best friend. Now. I don't know what we're gonna do with Joaquin besides to use his credit, but I'm cool with everybody else in the voice. So Phil, my man, Marcos, JD, we're good, bro.
Besides, use this credit.
I
Yeah.
do need a car, so can we go to Hilltop after this? They don't know about that.
Yeah, you know that's one of those things that when I forgot what DJ I was looking at, and it said that because he was from Chicago, he said Chicago is where that's why I asked, is like it's credited as like house music started from.
Yeah, but LA thinks they invented punk too, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I mean, everyone
New
thinks
York says they invented punk.
yeah.
Yeah, the Ramones were the first punk band, according to it's where things end up.
That's where
and
that's
things
the
evolve.
Big cities is where it ends up.
And the thing about music that Detroit
All
always
roads lead to
respect,
Rome. Yeah.
all the love levels of music is love, right? So Europeans, like you said, when they took it, they put their own spin in it. That's just like remixing a song. That's dope as fuck.
It's dope.
But you don't have to say, if you took a song from the Temptations, nah, this just mine. Nah, just acknowledge the Temptations and that you remixed the shit.
Exactly.
Well, I think especially like most like European DJs too, like for them it's not so much like this is what I created. It's like, yo, we make remixes to songs every day.
That's what I like with the.
And so like that's why you'll see like the album of like his greatest hits is like, Stand By Me remix, or it could be anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's anything.
That's what I like with the Rolling Stones. They did give credit to what was that guy, Muddy Waters.
Yeah.
When he's the one that inspired them to kind of start playing together.
Yeah.
And that's dope to see. But I do hate when people just like not. I mean,
The other thing too is you're gonna understand that more generations though are gonna start losing the knowledge of where things came from.
That's why we gotta capture.
That's why we
you know
have.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the people are dying off too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because there's no one to
To
tell
tell the
these
story.
kids anymore
Yeah.
that this is where
I'm
trap
34.
Hip hop came from. This is where.
I watched an interview with comedian Dick Gregory. You familiar with Dick Gregory?
No. JD's not my best friend anymore, guys.
I thought it was
this guy.
Marcos.
Marcos has been my best friend.
That's
He's
what I'm saying.
consistent.
That's what-
Just saying.
Well,
This list has been changing throughout
Man.
the entire
for
session.
the people that I'm speaking like rhetorically to the listeners, though, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But
Where's Dick Gregory from? Probably my town.
is he? I'm pretty sure he is.
Go ahead, bro.
No, what I didn't. I didn't know until I watched an interview with him, and he's the one that gave the song. What was the name of the song? John Lennon. Imagine. A lot of those lyrics are from some words that Dick Gregory shared with him, and a lot of people don't know that shit, and that's kind of important.
He's a genius. God rest his soul. He just passed away.
Yeah. And there's a lot of versions of that like, this started here, but you don't know about it. And like, that's what we're saying. It's important to study the history of it because you can see how things develop.
Yeah, it's. But I think you're also right too. It's about where things end up because there's a punk scene in New York. There's a punk scene in Seattle, and then there was a punk scene here in SF, and
Mexico City.
There's a huge punk scene out there.
And now a huge hip hop scene now too.
Yeah, and
Which-
there's a
and
huge hip
those
hop
use-
scene in Japan and Korea.
In Tokyo, yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
There's a Cholo scene in Tokyo too.
It's gone everywhere. And speaking
That
of
one's kind of iffy.
It's funny.
That's
I
more of
didn't
a
see that one when I
Yeah,
was in
have you
Tokyo.
that one's more of a
Dude.
culture that
I've seen the locks on the Japanese cats,
Yeah.
Rasta Japanese.
Bro,
Yeah, I've seen some Russian.
in Japan and in the Philippines, in Japan and I think
Like
it's-
Korea?
No, Vietnam, I believe. They have this lowriders. They wear the
Like the chinos and stuff,
Yeah,
or the
dude,
Dickies?
the
Yeah.
Dickies, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, I gotta go see that. I don't know why.
Again, I didn't see cars in Vietnam. They all got scooters, but we're gonna give you that.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure it's Japan. It's Japan.
Okay.
Speaking of like music being transported all over the place, you're from the city of one of my favorite producers of all time, Jay Dilla.
Oh man,
Do you know who that is?
Dude, I don't know him either. I'm not familiar. Please enlighten me, brother Joaquin.
Are you familiar with General Motors?
Come on, man. We actually got records for Jay Dilla that my wife and I play at home still, just to honor his presence and his energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and all of that. I mean, but I think about Detroit from everything. Like, if you go to African American History Museum in Detroit, there's actual slave shipping there you can walk through and experience. Whoa. That's how we hit you, right?
Whoa.
Yeah, we're across the river from Canada, so we're an international city. So you always gonna have that play, right? We're literally next to Flint, 20 minutes, about the same distance Concord is from Oakland, and we have 20% of the cleanest water in the world, and them Negroes in Flint can't get clean water. And then we were so fashionable and the richest city between the 1950s, 1960s, that we brought that shit to California. Yeah, remember these country western boys wasn't wearing the shoes like how you fresh now? Man, come on now, that was them 70s pimps bringing down the heels and the furs and the jackets and getting the funk. You know what I'm saying? And so
it was Wild West here still.
It was still Wild West, and so all of the sex appeal and the music appeal and the color appeal. That's Detroit. That's how we get down. Like, I'm just wearing a scarf now. Party people are like, oh, well, that's weird. But when you see me put on a 3-piece suit with my hat and my gaiters and my scarf, then it's like, oh,
I get it.
So I just carry little bits of it. You wearing a Scuddy? We love Scuddies. You know what I'm saying? It's a not a Scuddy on your head, but we like Scuddies. You know what I'm saying?
All right, it's a beanie on my head.
It's a beanie on your head.
Yeah,
It's
really
like North Face on you.
He really doesn't like you, bro.
Look, I love Joaquin. It's good. But so I like to tell that history too, because you gotta ask, what happened? How was the city so rich? We was building tanks for the military. We was producing music. We was bringing stuff. Michael Jackson went to Detroit to get famous, and now it's one of the brokest cities in the country. We've lost 3.5 million people outside the city. They say if you get in any room with more than 30 people, 2 people from Detroit in the room.
Wow.
And that's where policy come in. That's where the overtaxation, the black tax, they gentrified Detroit before they went gentrified anywhere. And it started not even in gentrification, because it's not fully gentrified now, because I think they're still scared of us, but they broke Detroit. And when they was able to turn, you look up Chrysler Boulevard one day, back in the 50s and 60s, you had to spend $300,000 then to get a house on Chrysler Boulevard.
Wow.
Right? Them houses, me and you, we can all go buy one now for 20 bands. We'll have to take it from a crack house to be a regular house again. But,
Right.
But that's what it's
going to
worth.
cost 70 grand to
fix it.
To fix it, just bare minimum.
Bare minimum. You have to redo all the copper and that roofing and everything.
All the copper's gone.
All the copper's gone, you know. But that's why we burn a lot of houses in Detroit too, and they judge us for that. Like, Detroit niggas always burning houses down. It's like, we burning rape houses, we burning crack houses, we burning the houses that y'all left so dilapidated that these dirty pimps, because there's a difference between dirty pimps and clean pimps, but that's too deep for some of these people listening. But these dirty pimps and these criminals, they're taking over these spaces, and now it's dangerous for our sons and daughters to walk to school. So we'll rather burn that whole block down and just let it be nothing than allow it to be a space where a child can be kidnapped. And that's a weird, rebellious reaction to being neglected and being robbed of both your dignity and your wealth. And that's what they did to Detroit. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're doing to Oakland. That's what they're doing to parts of Richmond. And so that's why you got to know Detroit's story. Because if you don't understand that they can do it to that city that was making government contracts, and Quincy Jones and Henry Ford from the same fucking city, man, who the fuck is y'all niggas in LA and Oakland and San Francisco?
All the cars were being made there. Like, that's,
When the automotive industry left, oh my gosh, right?
It's in Japan now, your favorite place. He's like, where did that come from? Like, I actually like Japan, I'm just saying. It's North Korea. I'm a regular American. I hate the North Koreans like everybody else. South Koreans are my friends.
They announced that Ford has got a new plant in North Korea.
Look, Donald Trump built it.
That's what the handshake was for.
Man, probably.
Oh, man.
So I don't know. This probably went a little heavy, but I appreciate the opportunity to share that.
No,
that's important to know because
history,
we see the changes happening in
our area.
I just a little example of when I started to see a lot of that. I mean, I wasn't paying attention when I was young. I was partying, doing stupid shit, hanging out. You know? Yeah. And then I used to work for a company. We delivered a lot of copper pipe all over the Bay. One of the places I used to deliver copper pipe was this place that built solar panels in Richmond. I think the name was Heliodyne. One day I show up. I got used to deliver a shitload of pipe. Then it went to the bundles of pipe were like this. And it's like that one day I remember going where the pipes were this small for the small order, and they told me, yeah, so this is our last week. They're sending it over to they're making the panels now in Mexico. Yeah. And that there's a lot of other shit that's happening like that in Richmond, where a lot of these. And just like Richmond had that story back then too, where the military was making all the warships here, and it was you see. I don't know if you guys have been to the Rosie the Riveter Museum. All those pictures of McDonald Avenue, what it was before, and what it is.
It was thriving.
It was thriving. They're trying to redo it again, but it's not the same, and it's the same thing that you mentioned is happening.
Yeah, because you don't have the income to back it up anymore, right? Like, people have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to pay their rent, let alone build a business or grow something,
right.
Cultivate.
Work on themselves.
And back then, like I said, my grandma, I'm honored to be able to share this story with y'all. My grandma was born in West Virginia, and she was born in the late 40s. My grandma was born a sex slave in West Virginia because who was checking for black people to be free? That's why that Juneteenth thing is always so funny, because I'm like, they still didn't tell everybody they was free, because my grandma was born in the 1940s. When she was 14, her and her cousin, who was also a sex slave, escaped and went to Detroit, right? After playing with some pimps and getting a couple of my aunties and created in the world, because that was just the culture in the D. My grandma was able to get a job working for Chrysler at 16 years old. By 21, she was able to buy her first house. Right, my grandma between 21 and her death probably owned 6 or 7 houses. When she retired from Chrysler, she had a decent check up until the day she died that was able to cover all of her bills and take care of her bum ass kids and some of her grandkids. Right? Who can really do that anymore?
No one.
Yeah, no.
Not even working 3 jobs.
Not even working 3 jobs.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like, if you know somebody 21 with a house, that was an inheritance. That wasn't because of hard work. You know what I'm saying?
Unless the hard work was,
I have a couple
slanging shit.
Jay-Z style.
Yeah.
I have a couple friends that are my age. I'm 26, and it's so hard to even move out of your parents' house.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
it's extremely hard.
Yeah.
And I have a couple friends that have already bought in their first houses, and I'm like, there's no way. Like, I mean,
and they buy them together, probably, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And there's different. I mean, they're moving out also past outside the Bay Area and stuff, because they're like, this is way too expensive here. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, either you do have a really good job. I do have one of my best friends actually has a great job. He owns part of his dad's company, but because he wanted to step down and stuff, so he's taking more responsibility. There's a couple other friends that I'm just like,
you had help, I get it.
I'm like, if I had, if I had that kind of help, I could.
Yeah, I flip it 15 times, but hey, God bless you, right? Because you want to be happy for people, but the system should be moving in a way that makes it easier for the everyday people. And I read an article just the other day. I think it was New York Times, LA Times, and it said that it said the median house price of a home in California is $827,000, and 72% of Californians can't afford that. I said, well, that shouldn't be the median home price based on economic rules of supply and demand.
Right.
You can't even get a house that way.
That's crazy.
That price in Oakland anymore. Like,
no.
Yeah.
And if you do, I mean, that's a 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom.
In Richmond, they're going down my block. There are houses that they just remodeled one of the houses next to the old guy died, right? Yeah. Someone else bought it. They bought it for dirt cheap, maybe like $400 or $500, right? And that's even kind of expensive because our houses are hella small. Well, they put like $70,000 into it, and they're about to sell it for like $800,000. you know, possibly 9 because it looks like a really nice. It's all like modernized white paint, black trim, and
The minimalist look.
but they went it like they did the inside with marble. You know what I mean? Like they put the money into it, and it looks phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. I would love that, but
is it worth almost $1 million?
no.
Right.
No.
I don't think any house down our block is worth even, you know, close to
500. 500. That's usually the price in that area, right?
Dude, they're going up, man.
Yeah.
Even our house went up. It was just
And see, I think that's all on paper. Like I was googling houses around the Bay because truth be told, I'm moving to LA. Right. I just got a house in LA.
That's my dream.
Right. And it was way cheaper for more space. Right.
Is this happening soon?
I already got the house. I'm literally like,
nice.
I was on my way out there. If you didn't call me, invite me here, we would have been on the road, bro.
Okay. Well, I'm glad it didn't happen next month. You'd probably already be over there.
Yeah, but I would have came back.
Okay.
Because we're still friends. We're just not best friends anymore. JD.
Marco's got
not
that.
yet.
Marco's got
because
that.
Yeah, Marcus is best friend. You're 2.5 right now. You're not even 2.
I lost a point.
You lost a half a point too.
While I was quiet, I lost a point.
I'm just an associate at this
Joaquin
point.
is
I should have worn a skull cap, man. Fuck.
Yeah, Joaquin is like 11 on the list. He's not top 10, but again, we need his credit, so
Yeah, that's true.
we're gonna keep him close.
Thank you for the house book.
Thank you for the house, right? He's like, I got 3 houses at El Cerrito. Take one, bro. But no, I was looking for houses, and I was just like, just to be funny, I was like,
He has his own house just to keep his hats.
just for his beanies, right? A beanie house.
Sorry.
That sounds cool as hell, though. A beanie house.
Man,
That's in Berkeley.
he put up a voice party poll for which hat our followers liked more, either this or the fedora. They chose this. So.
It goes with your head. I think that's a beanie shit.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. But I was like, let me just look in all the different cities. So I was like, Danville, for instance. I was like, max house, let's say max house 500,000, just because I want to see what's available for less than $500,000.
Nothing.
0 results found.
Yeah.
Right? Multiple cities are like that in the Bay Area, and I'm like, yo, you did that on paper. You didn't assess this neighborhood and this house and you don't have an algorithm that's actually comparing these. You're setting a base, and then you're seeing who will buy. Right. And then you're using that base to then set other bases to then cut people out.
Right.
And I mean, at this point, I'm like, look, if y'all want everybody out, we should just all move to like Montana and take over one of the other like rich white states.
Economic
and just
racism.
blow it over, you know.
Well,
Economic racism.
We'd be doing
Economic racism all
We'd
day.
be doing exactly what they're doing to us.
I'm just saying, we'll take our California dollars and just trump every rich white person because they're like, I'm rich, I make 60,000 in Montana. We'd be like, yeah, bitch, I make 80, and then you just be like richer than them and buy that shit.
No, you know what makes me mad? You guys ever see those shows like My $1 Million Dream House or something like that, right? People win the lottery or something, and they're like, all right, you know, I want to get 6 bedrooms and blah, blah, blah for around 900,000, right? And I'm like, first off, when you win $1 million in the lottery or even 400 million, half of that's gone. Taxes.
Right.
And then they're like, yeah, but you know, I got this. We had to build a bridge for this. It's all made out of, it's pre-made in Sweden. The house was made out of like logs and stuff, right? It's supposed to be like this giant cabin mansion thing. And they're like, and can you guess the price when we come back? And they'll come back and it's like, this was $3.2 million. And I was like, the house in Fremont that's in the hood, that went for $3 million. Like, what do you mean this mansion is $3? I was telling my dad, I was like, oh, that's easy. Like 52 million, right? 52
Right.
million.
52 million. Jay-Z house.
Yeah.
Jay-Z house.
Yeah, total cost. Total cost.
That's his
$3 million. I was like, they had to build a bridge to get to their property,
And that was included
because
in
the trucks were so heavy they couldn't even
It covers the
yeah.
price and the labor.
And the labor. Yeah.
No,
What was that you said?
That's seriously what it
You
is.
said we were talking about these prices out here. Meanwhile, people in the South in their mansions, like, wow.
Oh yeah, somebody was telling me, they was like, oh, I got a big old mansion in Atlanta. Like, you should come down here. And I was like, okay, what you mean? Like, you rich or something? He's like, yeah, it's $1 million mansion. I was like, how many bedrooms? It was like 5 bedroom, 4 bathroom. So I looked that up in Atlanta. Nigga, them go for 400,000.
Yeah.
We can all get a mansion right now, and then just be roommates and be paying like $12 a month a piece.
Yeah. Well, that's why, but that's why people go to like Texas and shit. That's why people from California, like young kids, go to Texas.
I understand
Because they can
that
buy
shit.
that big of a house, twice the size of our parents' house, for a quarter of the cost.
It includes a cow. You know what I'm saying?
An acre
Every
land.
house in Texas, you get a free cow.
Is it a dairy cow?
or a meat cow. That's important.
You get a free meat cow. You get a horse. That's all you. That comes with the property.
I mean, yeah, that
can sell
plan is
that
out
horse.
here, bro.
LA prices
Couple of chickens.
for homes are a little not as crazy as the Bay right now, right?
Nah. So I mean, you know, we got a 3 and 2. You know, so it's not a big house. It's bigger than the house we got on Golf Links, though.
Oh, yeah.
And we tried to buy. Just if y'all want to run through some numbers for any nerds that listen, we tried to buy a house right on Golf Links. And like I said, 2 people got shot last night outside my window.
Yeah. I work in that area a lot.
Yeah. So you probably heard many people get shot.
Yeah,
just passing through.
Break-ins and shit.
All of that.
Yeah.
The lady offered us the house for $799,000, and it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 1,000 square feet. It's basically a condo that looks like a house
With a backyard.
You know, with a backyard, right? Got a couple lemon trees. So I guess each lemon tree is probably worth like $50,000. Trying to figure it out.
Better be the best fucking lemons of your life.
So I do what you would probably do because you got good credit and shit. And I go to the bank and I try to get a loan. The bank approves me for like $627,500. I don't know where the fuck they get that number from, but that's what they approved.
They spin a wheel.
Basically,
whatever it lands on. Here you go.
Get that nigga $600,000. Give him a little bit more. Okay, whatever. So I got $627. So I'm now like basically at McDonald's trying to buy an $8 cheeseburger with $5 in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so I'm gonna offer you. I'm trying to act like I got some room to negotiate. I'm gonna offer you $600,000 for the house. See what she counted with. She's like, $780. Shit, she ain't go down far enough. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, just tell her what we got. Like that's all I can do. See if she take it. She's like, no.
Yeah.
That's it. So now I'm in the position where like I have to go find a place to live because she wants her house that way. And we were living in the house I was trying to buy, and so you would think that'd
How
be.
long were you living there for?
3 years.
Oh,
I raised my babies in my house. One of my sons was born in the house. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, let's just work this out. You don't even live here. She live in Texas, but she want me to basically pay for her retirement. And looking at the numbers, she bought her house for $196,000 in 2012 when they wasn't giving Negroes loans yet after the recession. But if you was white, you can get one with good credit, or Joaquin over here. And so
he had to vouch for you.
I just had to throw him in the mix. I ain't want you to not be with your people.
Hey man, you know Joaquin? Oh yeah,
I would have got the money then. You know, it was like El Cerrito, easy. Go ahead. But so she got the house for less than $200, but she wanted to make $600 off the house, and I'm like, lady, you would have made $400 even if you accepted my offer, but you want a retirement package, you want a 401k right now, and that's what they did. They bought houses in the hood to make themselves a retirement package, and then if I want to then live among black people in Oakland, I have to bind myself to a 30-year mortgage at $4,000, $5,000 a month. And then it's like, well, fuck my kids, but I'm doing this for them. I was like, bro, I'm moving to LA, and I got my house for under $5, and it's bigger.
And you know what though, LA is kind of funny too, because like you
didn't have to go through the.
And I didn't even need a cosigner, bro. Go ahead.
But no, it's actually funny. Like in LA, I was looking up like houses too. Like I do this, like, you know, how much was $1 million house up there, like blah blah blah.
Fantasy shopping.
Yeah,
me too.
But
even like let's just say like the $5 million range, right?
If I find a 4-bedroom house under $400,000, I rub one out.
Is that like a blessing to get it? Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah. No, but like say like you're in like the $4 or $5 million range, right? Out here, what's $4 or $5 million really going to get you? You're not going to get too much, and you're not going to get a good view. You're not going to get seriously, you're not going to get shit. Out there, you still kind of can get something good.
You say $4 million?
Yeah, dude. There's this.
You be in the Hollywood Hills for
in the hills with $4 million, dude.
Yeah,
even
easy.
$2 million.
Yeah, easy.
I was looking at
With a
like
pool
they might
and
be,
shit.
they might not be like super up to date, but they're nicer than whatever we grew up in.
Yeah.
I just worked in Blackhawk recently. I don't know if you're familiar with that area. It's over there by Concord, where Adam Sandler lives, and fucking.
Adam Sandler lives out here?
Yeah, he has a house there. It's like a gated community.
Oh shit!
And
why would anyone want to live in Concord?
It's not Concord. It's by Danville.
Oh,
by Danville.
Okay.
Danville. And I think E40 has a house there, and like I don't know how much. It's like I think it's like $4 million or something a house there, maybe more. But they're not like
they're not nothing great.
Yeah, they're all like next to each other. You know those new houses they built in Point Richmond?
Yeah.
Not Point Richmond, and right by the golf course. Like they're all like next to each other. They look
the cookie
nice.
cutters.
Yeah, they look like, it looks like cookie cutter rich people's houses.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would you want to live here, man?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just, yeah.
No, I want an individualized house, but yeah, I'm not trying to,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to spend $7 million for the same house that E40 got. I want my house.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, see, like Will Smith, he got a house pretty much in the middle of nowhere in Malibu. Because I be following him on Instagram sometimes, and he'll show you, and then he don't even have any neighbors. And I'm like, that's kind of dope.
Well, you buy out properties next to you too when you're that rich.
Yes, I'm okay with that. Like,
Yeah, I mean, when you're a celebrity like that, it's
Especially
good to
Will-
have some loan
Especially
time,
Will
you know?
Smith.
You kind of need that
Yeah.
protection.
Have you ever thought about buying houses or do you have houses in Detroit?
my family have houses in Detroit for sure.
Because everyone that I know from Detroit, I used to work with a guy from Detroit, and he's like, he cashed out his pension one time here to buy like 2 houses. They're like, how much was your pension, bro? But he's like, the houses where he got it are dirt cheap, and he has his family members living in them.
Yeah. I mean, if you have like $1,000 or $5,000, you can buy a building structure that is a house. If you have like 40 to 60, you can buy a house that you can move into right now. And these houses would be like brick houses with attics and basements, and I mean, they're nice. They're nice,
Livable.
homes, you know
What
I'm
state
saying?
we talking?
Talking in Detroit.
Oh, Detroit.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
a new landlord.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to buy 3 blocks,
Get some rent.
but you could probably do that for about $15,000.
Put me down for 10.
Huh. $15,000.
No, I mean seriously, like I be telling people that because we should be buying up Detroit because it's an international city. Like I say, it's never going to go out of style because even trucking routes, you got to go through there to get to Canada, or you got to come through Detroit to get to America. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how you move it.
Yeah.
Ships get dropped off everywhere from the upper New England area all through New York, and they drive through. And sometimes it's quicker to go through Canada and back to America than it is even go around through Ohio and
historically is one of the.
It's never gonna lose. It was founded before the country was founded. 1701. It's Fort Detroit by the French. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I love
That
my
makes
city,
sense
bro.
because the French were colonizing Canada and those. Yeah, okay.
That was like a stopping point for them right there, right? Yeah.
So it's always, you got to think about it from like a global perspective. It's always going to be an important part. Just like LA, the Bay, always going to be important parts of the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like certain places play out in the world economy, but we can't be late to the party, right? It's like we need to stop moving out of our hoods. If we can afford to buy up our own neighborhoods, we should. But if we got an opportunity to buy up another neighborhood that got some historic value, we should do that as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because who are you waiting for to buy it? Like Jeff Bezos? Like, we want to live in Jeff Bezos' America all our life? Like, he said, yup.
I mean, no, they're buying everything.
Yeah.
Like you seen that town they built in, I think it's right next to Mexico, and it's in Mexico. Or I don't know if you saw it on the news. It's a big ass Amazon facility right next to this place that has like, it's basically like huts made out of trash aluminum. And it's like right now it's trending the way it looks. It's like a dystopian future, straight up Amazon facility, and then just like
people living in huts. Yeah. See, that's not okay.
And they're here in Richmond, man. They're that's what we're talking about. You were in here. We were talking about the urban tilth in Richmond. That they're in between Chevron and Amazon, and where they're trying to build like a casino. They're like holding it down because they want to keep the roots of Richmond of like the. What was it? Urban justice, like farming. Urban
That was
farming.
a powerful episode.
Yeah,
that we did.
Yeah, you were here. Yeah,
I was here.
Yeah, and that's a lot of, like you said, let's buy the houses. I mean, if you don't want to live there, there's rent it out.
Yeah,
so they stay with us.
Yeah,
because all these companies, man, they're waiting for another. Just like in 2008, my parents lost their home in 2000, like a little bit after that 08 crash, like 2010, 11, and and the banks just collected, man. It was like Easter for those banks. I got this one, I got that one,
and then resold them
and resold
at higher
them,
prices,
high ass prices, and fuck another family over.
Yeah.
That's why it's better to sell your houses to individuals if you do sell your houses, all right, Joaquin?
No, that's right.
No, that's real. I mean, the housing thing is important, and people talk about it from building wealth, and so I'm like, well, if you gonna build wealth, to buy low, sell high, right? So we don't need to be buying $800,000 houses and expecting your 3-bedroom to realistically be worth what, $1.5 million and you double your value. Like, get the fuck. By the time that 3 bedroom worth $1.5 million, bread costs $24.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't want to live in that world.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely not.
Like this isn't what's Rwanda or you know what I'm saying, Zimbabwe or something. Like that's kind of what it's turning into with the inflation stuff.
And then aside from the price of houses, you know, you look at apartments. God damn, that's a whole other issue, man. Anywhere in the Bay right now, you can't get anything under $2,500, even if it's a studio. There's people paying $2,500 for studios, not even in Oakland and Richmond, in Oakland or San Francisco, like in smaller cities outside of that. And even I have friends from Tracy, who Tracy's always known as like the dirt roads and cheap houses. Prices up there are going up extremely right now.
Yeah, they hitting the fives already.
Yeah.
I saw that. And that's in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. You just close your eyes and drive and you'll end up in Tracy.
You end up in Tracy. But you know what? The cool thing is maybe over the next 5 to 10 years, the housing market will balance out because of like the way people are working remotely and able to do kind of whatever they want. And a lot of new business has been created in the last 2 years that could have its own impact on the American economy and with people not having to, so to speak, slave and drive to work every day. Because that's what they make this area expensive for us because they're like, oh, everybody wants to come to San Francisco for work, but if we don't have to, then
good luck with that. And it did a big impact because it brought a lot of prices down in rent in San Francisco.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still, I can't afford it still, but
it did come down a bit.
It did come down a bit.
And the tech companies are moving to like what, Dallas,
Texas,
Texas, or is it Houston?
Yeah, I think both.
And I think that's good. That's
I
good.
think the more tech moves that way, like the more we'll see stuff drop out this way.
Yeah.
Which means if you want to flip some money, buy a couple of 100,000 houses in Texas before the boom starts.
What were you saying?
Does that kind of fuck up our economy though in a certain way, like because we're already so used to having the amount of money coming through now, so now when they leave, now we're like, oh shit, we don't have.
I think it'll bring prices down in a good way too, though.
No, it's going to bring prices down in a good way, but then do we start seeing the effects of other things getting
less money
up?
Less money. Like if we had all these bottles flushed and now you take away 2 bottles, you're saying we got less to go around.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Personally, I don't know how many techies really show up to events. Maybe we should start reading comedy shows. But any techies in the room?
I don't
think they participate in the
I don't think I've ever had techies. No, the majority of our
people.
I have a friend who's a software engineer, and he once said, "A great caveat of my job is that we are much better with machines than we are with being with people."
Yeah.
So no, they probably don't go out very much. They're a bunch of introverts, I would expect.
But also the times they do go out, they get those parties. I used to work for a catering company that did all the tech companies.
They spending big bucks.
The majority of our
parties.
Yeah.
The majority of our audience and our listeners, like audience at the shows, are restaurant workers or construction workers.
Yeah.
So.
And tech people. No.
I mean, I'll take everybody. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I've had
they're not the people that come out to
politicians, but I can't say I've had a bunch of techies. Like, and I know because anytime we have sound issues, nobody in the audience can fucking help. You know what I'm saying?
You need more musicians in the.
Hey, so speaking of that, we haven't even talked about you do stand up. That's how we kind of connected.
That is how we connected.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. Was I supposed to do a joke there?
No. How long have you been doing stand up?
I started officially at 32. I thought about doing it earlier because I've been in politics, kind of giving speeches and stuff since I was like 21. But I just wasn't, I don't think, ready to transition. Yeah. And then, so I've been doing it heavy for like the last 2 years.
The last 2 years.
Yeah.
And you, I know you also have your own podcast, the Jacie Comedy Podcast.
Yeah, the Jacie Comedy Show. Appreciate it.
Jacie Comedy Show. Yeah. How long you been doing that? For 2 years now?
Yeah, so we started doing that one after the election cycle last year. Okay. So that one's a little under a year right now because we're in October. So that's kind of cool. But that was really a result of Corona not being able to like do as many shows as we wanted to and hit like, because we had a whole little strategic plan to hit like all the senior centers and the college campuses and do all these cool funky shows, and like everybody, Corona just kind of threw your plans in the trash can. So we were like, let's just talk shit to nobody and hope somebody listens.
Yeah,
and
People are listening.
and people start listening. Yeah, we use Buzzsprout, and I try to tap into a lot of like weird apps like Air or like those other like clip apps, and a lot of them are based in other parts of the world. And so when you do a clip of your podcast on those apps, and Air is a good one, AIRR. It shoots it immediately to like Australia or Southeast Asia, different parts of Europe. And so we've been able to get like 80 or 90 countries on board, places I've never heard of. It's like 600 cities listening to the show. And it's where cool. I don't even have to publish them all the time because I'm like, just letting them circulate. And if you like the first one, you go look at some more,
Yeah, that's what I didn't realize. I never thought of this, of how much because the U.S. produces more content than any other country. Obviously, we
talk the most shit.
Exactly, and how like a lot of those countries just are like our audience.
Yeah,
and
they like to be the audience.
They like to be the audience. They like what we produce.
They
like
be learning this
music.
Shit.
You talked about Detroit. Like that shit is global. All the shit that came out of a lot of stuff, the culture. Like I remember this when I was in college. My professor told me that when he was backpacking in Brazil. He saw like the beginnings of hip hop starting in Brazil, like in the 90s, where it was like finally getting there, or skateboarding. When the whole culture of skateboarding here spread to the other parts of the world, because he used to travel out. He's like he saw that shit, like, goddamn, the U.S. has a lot of influence. The shit that we create spreads like wildfire over there, and they love it. And that's how right now podcasting, like we've had other podcasts here who say the same thing. That because for me, when we looked at our analytics, like, there's people in Canada, like Canada's not that far. I'm like Ireland and Switzerland, like what the hell?
Like, they were listening to us, yeah.
Like that's, to me, is like I'm always surprised. I'm not surprised at this point, but like I'm always shocked if someone from Antioch is listening.
Yeah. Right.
I appreciate our listeners.
Yeah,
like,
shout out to the listeners.
International listeners. Oh my gosh. Like, thank you.
So I'm gonna check that out. You said you post clips. Man, clips is the way to go, dude.
And they do like a little visual of it, so it could be like your logo, or it can be like just some like music looking thing while you're talking. And then on Air, you can put a little description on there, and then you put like just basically publish it to the feed. And I've even learned like at different times, like if I'm publishing something between like 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. our West Coast time, that's like everybody else's wake up time around the world. So they're waking up, and those are their apps. Like that's our like Instagram and Facebook. These are their apps that they tap into and see what's good.
That's genius.
And so it'd be like I might have like 13 downloads on the podcast I publish on Tuesday. Then I clip it, and then that shit shoot up like 100 downloads overnight. Wow. And you'd be like, get the freak out of here. Like, and it just be random places. And a lot of people got iPhones now, and so there's iPhone apps or app affiliates that they'll publish shit out for you. And it's just figuring out them different, like, it literally taking like an hour to look up the different apps, and then just taking maybe 15 minutes a night
to polish
to do it.
Clips.
Yeah, and that shit it'll build. And I'm saying this like I do it every night. I fucking don't. But every time I do it, there's fruit from the tree.
I gotta start fucking with that.
Yeah, please give us a list of your apps.
Oh yeah,
I got you, bro.
Yeah, because we use Anchor, and Anchor puts you on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all these other stuff. But like, I this other podcast, Inner Monologue. I don't know if they're familiar with them. They're also from Richmond, and we have them on, and they mentioned they put their stuff on other platforms where like. At one point, I think they were like the number one podcast in Fiji for a day. But like, whatever. Yeah. Hey, for one day, we'll take it. Like, that's, to me, that's dope, man.
No, it is. And it does it when you're like actively doing it. And I mean, it was like last December. I mean, I just started publishing in November. So I was like the only one just putting my stuff out on my phone, just ignoring my children and my wife upstairs, right? Playing on my shit. And on Listen Notes, I don't know how deep it is in America, but we're like, top 5% of podcasts listened to on Listen Notes. And I was like, that was cool. And that was just after like a few days of playing with it, right? Sending out some clips from Listen Notes to other people. But then once you get in top in their algorithm, then any affiliates with them is going to send your shit out first. You know what I'm saying? Same thing like with Air. I found Air when they basically just got started. So
ARR, you said, right?
AIRR.
AIRR.
Yeah, so you can't spell it all. You went to Richmond Public Schools. It's okay. Look, I went to Detroit public schools. It's no better. It's okay. So when I was like first on it, I'm on it every day for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Then when I started noticing, they'll be like, oh, check out new podcasts or check out like top listened to podcasts over the last 24 hours, and my shit will be up there. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So then I'm like, well, let me text some girls and see if they can do the same thing. And I'm trying to pimp it out. It didn't work. I'm not a good pimp. That's why I did politics.
That's why I went legal.
I had to be legal and go to school and shit. I'm not a good pimp. But I was trying to get them to do it because I'm like, yo, if I get 5 girls to clip one of my shows like 3 times a week, I don't even have to pay attention to it. I can just do the shows, pull them out, and they'll make sure you touching the world. And your numbers will just add themselves up.
Man, that I got to look. Yeah, that's for
Like
all.
now Marco's about to be a pimp. You see his smile?
Oh no, actually, I was gonna say the funniest thing that you just said that's because when we first started the band,
Yeah.
Our manager was like, that was one of the game plans. It was there's 5 members in our band. Everyone get 10 girls and have them post your stuff every week. And you're like, you know that's not gonna work because first off, if you're not paying them.
Or smashing.
Yeah, they're not fucking posting your shit, right? And we weren't that great. We're pop music versus what's top 40 right now, and so we're like, dude, this ain't gonna work. And I just realized, like, dude, yeah, it's you're fucking pimping out your content right now.
Yeah, I mean that's
like.
That's the best way to do it, though. I'm gonna see if I can like pay my wife little sisters or something.
Yeah.
So when I get to LA,
And when you can pay a little bit, it does help, and it does.
Yeah.
Like they will push it a little harder, but like you have to be able to, you have to compensate too, because because what happens is they're doing your job for you. Because there's plenty of people that just did it on their own, and they have millions of subscribers and
It's hard.
listeners.
It's hard though, because when you want to focus it all on the show and then you do all this other shit, like, I mean, luckily we only.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to be able to. If someone's going to do it for you, you have to be able to compensate because it's a job for them.
For sure.
It was like $20 an hour, and they do it 4 hours a week.
Or something.
Yeah.
But that's why I appreciate, like, anytime someone shares anything,
Right.
that, that's a huge help, man. That's the modern day, like, offering someone a plate of food that, like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because we're all working on it together. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
That's the thing. It's like we're building this. Everybody's in their garden with the shovel trying to like grow something. It's like, hey, what's working for you? It's like
exactly,
so,
and I appreciate that, like, telling us all that, because that's why I like, whatever platform we have. Hopefully, some of our listeners go subscribe to
the Jacie Comedy Show. Yeah, and I'm gonna have you on the episode.
I'm with it.
Yeah,
man. I'm with it.
It's good.
We've been at an hour now, bro.
That's great. This has been beautiful.
I feel like I'm ready to buy a house now.
Yeah. Me too.
In Detroit for $5,000.
Detroit for $500.
Or
No,
what did
except
you
for
say,
5
60
grand.
grand?
$5,000.
I heard 5.
Yeah, I mean you can get one for $5, but it'd be moving ready for 60. Yeah.
Shit.
Look,
We just have to decorate it.
Yeah.
You see
The copper wires will
a
be there.
neighborhood, a street is renamed Loscano Avenue.
You can do that though, but see that man, and see Detroit's always. You heard of Chaldeans?
No.
Chaldeans is a very very small minority population within the Arab community.
Oh, yeah.
Right. You read the Bible; they exist in the Bible.
Yeah.
We have Chaldeans in Detroit.
Wow.
Because motherfuckers feel safe in Detroit. As dangerous and as gangsters the city is, they know, look, their families, we not gonna mess with your families. Like our Latinos, they feel safe. Malcolm X was from Detroit. He was called Detroit Red.
Detroit Red.
You know what I'm saying? And it took a Detroit guy to even spread the Nation of Islam like that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how we move. You know what I'm saying? So,
That's a lot, man. That's a lot of stuff I didn't know about Detroit. I knew about the Malcolm X, but like, the house music one, I'm glad you clarified.
It's good. It's good.
And then I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff that people don't know that came from Detroit.
But look, everybody need to take some time in their life and visit one time. Because people always like, I'm going to go to Selma because I want to see. Selma ain't shit in Selma, but that little bridge.
Yeah.
Go to Detroit. We got a picture of the bridge. Look, we were down there marching too.
And it's 40 minutes away from Flint, huh?
It's really close.
Yeah.
But see, Flint was always really dangerous to Detroit too. And I know we wrapping up, but when Flint, we would go to like the Palace to watch a Pistons game growing up, right? And then we would always meet Flint kids. And they would always be like, yo, come hang out with us at the skating rink and stuff. That's one place our aunties never let us go as kids. It was like, you don't go to Flint, they're going to kill you. And so Flint is like, it's really dangerous. And then for them to like treat them the way they treat them with the water is just totally shameful.
It's like third world countries.
Yeah, and we're in the third president that's been ignoring them. So let's just acknowledge that America has ignored the city inside of itself for 3 presidents and not providing clean water. So who the fuck is the rest of us?
That's a lot to
take in.
Yeah, it's only on the voice part.
Only on the voice party.
Only on the voice party, man.
Take it.
Hey, before we go though, I want you to first of all, I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope when you visit the Bay, you stop by. You know,
For sure.
and I know that now that you're leaving, what I was gonna say is I want you to mention where people can follow you, where they can. And I know you do a lot of you're about to do a lot of live events too. Now that things are opening back up, you had me with you at Dion Cole and Friends show recently,
That
man.
was
I
a lot of
appreciate that.
fun.
That was
Blessings.
I got to talk to Dion Cole after the show,
That was honorable.
and
yeah.
I gotta thank you for that. 'cause
I
you
gotta
gave me
thank you. You gave us a DJ for the show. You gave us a photographer for the show. Like you was working it. You know what I'm saying?
I just made some calls, man. But I appreciate you letting me be there. Where can people follow you? Where can they listen to your
Sure.
podcast?
So check out the Jacie Comedy Show podcast. You can just Google it. We're available on all platforms.
All right.
So Amazon, Spotify, Apple, whatever. You can find us. Some weird app for podcasts. We're on that one too. If you want to email me personally, the JacieComedyShow@gmail.com. Our website's thejazzycomedyshow.org, and we're .org because we donate 40% of all of our profits to local nonprofits.
Oh, cool.
And so yeah, check us out. What we hopefully we'll have a couple live events. One at Yoshi's on November 2nd. We're looking at doing something at the Palace of Fine Arts. And Marcos, I'm sure you're gonna be involved in that one with us.
Cool.
For New Year's Eve in San Francisco. It's also going to serve as like a political fundraiser for somebody running for mayor.
Brothers.
Yeah, we're like brothers in the industry right now. He's in the music, I'm in the comedy, but we got the same people we work with. And so, you know, just kind of check us out and stay tuned. Like sometimes my shit might pop up 24 hours in advance just because we just gonna have a good time with it. Like not really trying to trip on the parties. We like people to have fun at the end of the day. And so Marcus Garvey would always say, if you gotta teach the people, you should feed the people. If you're gonna feed the people, you might as well entertain the people. And so at any Jacie Comedy Show live event, you can expect that you might learn something if you're listening, you might get fed if you're hungry, and you definitely gonna have a good time.
Oh yeah,
Hell yeah.
all three.
Every time,
Every
bro.
time.
Sometimes we give out free bottles of wine. Sometimes we give out kush. It's just, but we gonna make sure you taken care of because we want people to like step out of their own bullshit and come into our world. Just like y'all have invited me into your beautiful world today, and I thank you for it. For real.
Into our bullshit.
Hey, thank you.
This is my new best friend. Fuck the rest of you guys. Okay? I love Marcos. Just gonna let that out.
And shout out to your boy, man. It's the second time meeting them.
Yeah, brother. Yusuf
third time.
Bibbs is actually a meditation guru. Is author of book Money Behind the Dreams. If y'all want to check him out, cocoonacademy.org.
Okay.
That's correct, right? .org. Academy.com or .org. Y'all check it out. He high right now. It's all good. He didn't got too much contact hanging out with me.
Hey, thanks again, bro, and I will be happy to have you back, man.
Thank you. JD for mayor in Richmond, y'all.
No. Pinole. All right, that's been the Voice Party. Thank you guys for listening. We're out.
We're out.
Peace.
Oh, man, that was good.
Awesome.
That was good.
Thank you.